Hey, everybody, welcome on back. It's the Twisted History Podcast of Brazil, or as Vibsy pronounces it,
Brazil.
Brazil.
Thank you.
I don't know why, but we were in the car on the way in, and was there a mention of MTV? The Goo Goo Dolls have a song called, I think their biggest hit might be Iris.
Oh, yeah.
But they have a song called Name. I won't tell them your name. You don't know that
I've
one?
seen the Goo Goo Dolls in concert, but I don't.
Really?
We were all just waiting for Iris, which they played at the very end, of course.
I have to think they probably have 3 songs that you would recognize, John.
Oh, even more. I mean, Slide. You could.
Yeah.
Why don't you slide?
Dizzy Up the Girl is a big time album.
You don't really know the song Name? You probably would if I played it.
Yeah, I would if you played it. I don't know any of But I've got to hear the Goo Goo Dolls songs.
And I give up forever to...
Touch
That's-
you,
yeah.
because
I
I,
thought-
know
oh,
that
I thought
should
that
be
was Iris.
somehow.
Is that the song?
Yeah.
I thought that's Iris, yeah.
Oh, he knows it.
Yeah, so, and then at the end it's
why
like,
not?
I won't tell him your name. I think it was written about the MTV VJ, Kennedy, who's now on Fox News or on news channels, maybe CNN. And she was had that single name, just Kennedy, when she was a VJ. And I don't think she wanted other people to know her name. Her real name was I don't know, Mary Kennedy Wilson or something like that. But the guy from Goo Goo Dolls was dating her, and she had intimated what her name was. Then he wrote the song saying, "Now I won't tell him your name." And no one knew it was about her, and he never gave up the ghost with her name. I don't know. It's a stupid little factoid, but I just got it.
That's
right?
fun.
Yeah.
I just
that was
Googled
kind
her.
of cool, right? That was scandalous back then.
It must, and you couldn't have just Googled what is Kennedy's real name back
'Cause it didn't
then.
exist.
Yeah, because it wasn't around.
I Googled Kennedy MTV VJ, and it just pops up as Kennedy. It doesn't say her full name.
Right. She sort of has that single name thing like Sting or Bono.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, she's synonymous with Sting and Bono. As far
Okay,
as I'm
you
concerned.
go to her wiki. Lisa Kennedy Montgomery.
That's it. Yeah. So, does it mention anything about her and Goo Goo Dolls?
Let's see.
Is this a weird conversation to have? No, right?
No.
Felt worse.
Little music
Well,
history.
this was our conversation in the car on the way.
But this is my point. How much did MTV, which I guess is owned by Paramount Global, drop the ball? Don't you think MTV, if they just would have pivoted? I pay for so many streaming. How many streaming services you pay for right now, John?
Well, through Verizon, I was given a deal.
We got a basket.
So I got Well, they give HBO and Netflix for 10
Right.
with ads. So we
Okay.
did that, and then we pay separately for Hulu,
Okay. Because
Yeah.
I think we
which
had
gets you Disney.
Disney,
really?
Yeah.
but now we have Hulu. HBO Max also gives us something else. I have Paramount Plus. We have Netflix, Apple TV, all
Oh, yeah.
these
Max.
Prime Video,
totally.
all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
Max,
I think-
Netflix, Hulu,
Paramount
ESPN,
Plus, you're right.
yeah, something
Fox
like that.
One.
Peacock.
Yeah, Peacock. So we have all these things that I don't even know what I pay anymore. And that's not a flex. That's an old man being frustrated with it. I would pay for MTV if they would have kept along and became a streaming
What it
service.
was originally.
Because you think about the stuff they were pumping out, and maybe you're too young for this, maybe not, but all the stuff I think would play now on a streaming service. Jersey Shore, Remote Control, the dating game that they had where a guy would step off the bus saying, "I like
Next.
Next.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't you think that
Room
would
Raiders.
all? Yeah. Road Rules, Real World, and on top of it all, be able to do every music documentary, live shows. I would have paid. Why did they just give up? I'm gonna have to do a deep dive into that. Why did MTV
sure.
just fucking get there are
That sounds
franchises
like a question
here.
for Jen and Christian. Jen would know.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Yeah, it's hard to answer it in one way. I mean, there's a lot of things that happened to them.
Really?
Yeah.
Did they get screwed?
Well, meaning they started in 1982, right? When did MTV
80?
start?
Right, but
So-
I don't know.
they
I
started
can't look, I'm still in
after
the queue.
probably HBO, and HBO is still HBO Max is very good, and they show the Food Network.
Yeah.
I walk on a walking pad now. I don't know if you guys heard about this.
It's awesome.
Good for you.
Yeah, I fell
It's
off the other
cool.
day, and I almost hit my head,
wasn't
my
there.
temple, on the corner of a fucking. I don't have very good balance, and I can't hold on to the things because I'm so tall. I don't want to walk like a jumbo shrimp. So I'm up there, and I'm doing whatever, an hour or something. So I'll watch a couple Beat Bobby Flays on HBO Max. I think MTV
They were
could have
bought
been.
though. They were bought by Discovery.
Right. Who was? MTV?
HBO.
Oh,
so
HBO.
meaning, so their like catalog is still active.
Okay.
But that's changing too.
I really think that it's one of those things, and I'm not being old, bring it back, but the way they just went to keeping a basic cable channel that just showed ridiculousness,
Yep.
which is, they totally gave up. Like,
Yeah.
It, like fit in
That
Jack.
finally ended after like 27 years.
Right.
Right.
I think
And
this
that's-
just happened. Like December 31st is when they cut all stuff. Like they still have some limited programming here in the United States, but I think all music programming is dead around the world.
Did they end with Video Killed the Radio Star?
Well,
You
that's
could
what you
argue-
came in today with, that Radio Gaga, Radio
Yeah.
Goo Goo, right? Like you had heard
Ooh,
the,
yeah.
you didn't like
Why?
the
Why
song.
were you talking about that? What
It was playing in the bagel pub.
Oh,
And I don't know, like it
Across the
kind of
street.
reminds me of MTV. Like everything is reminding me of MTV, and I guess I lament the fact that
So
MTV isn't
YouTube,
around.
I would say, is where you get music videos now, right?
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, you
So
can.
that's
What-
pretty
what-
healthy.
Are there
people still
licensing
putting
for
them out?
that?
What do you mean?
Like people just put them out, and then you can.
I think they own the channels. meaning
Right.
The
That
people who-
artist,
Yeah.
yeah.
Or the.
Yeah.
Are
There's a-
videos still made?
yeah.
Like, do people still
Oh yeah.
do? They do?
Oh yeah.
There's a bar, and I'm sure there's several bars that just play music videos on the TVs. I love those.
Oh, remember
'Cause you-
Palladia? Yeah, remember the old. Well,
Well,
that
the-
wasn't Palladia, but yeah.
Yeah, there's just, you'll just be sitting there having a drink with your friends, and then you're like, oh, I completely forgot about this band. Like, look at that.
Yeah.
And it's a music video from 1997.
Freeform used to do that. I think they had like hours throughout the day where it would just. be
BET
music
used to
songs.
do it
Yeah.
too. I just think that, like sometimes you'll build a franchise here and you'll have like a huge social following or a nice size social following, and then if the franchise just stops, like Podfathers. We had like 350,000 followers on Instagram. I don't have 350,000 followers on Instagram for myself. It would be like, it's just kind of going to waste. I think maybe Chaps picked it up for the thing he does with Donnie. It's all which is a nice way to build a new franchise off of the already huge following that we had on social media.
Well, you're not
It's
really building anything. You're kind of just
well, either way, it's a cheat code.
reinventing what's already established.
MTV had all that, like, I don't know, gravitas, weight, that street cred. I just think
Cool
that it was one of those
logos,
things
cool
where they were
songs.
like, why didn't they fucking build off it? MTV can. I don't know. I think we're ready for it. Hey, either way. So we're
Maybe
back.
they are.
1995, Kennedy dated Goo Goo Dolls frontman guitarist John Resnick.
John Resnick.
The
There it
song
is.
Name was written about her.
Boom. Look
She's
at
also on an all-meat diet because she has celiac disease.
Oh,
that's,
so
that's the
she's-
next fun fact.
that. She's wow. So we're throwing out a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Track
MTV
number
dropped the
9 on
bag.
that album.
Name is about Kennedy. Kennedy's a carnivore. And I'm going to keep going. Some guy named Joe Friend sent this factoid in from People magazine. Right around the end of the year, I'd seen this a couple of times because, here's the headline. Billy Joel listed 59 people in his single We Didn't Start the Fire. After Brigitte Bardot's death, only 3 remain alive.
Whoa.
And so for people who just stumbled upon us, we did a 3-part series on We Didn't Start the Fire where we went down all 59 people and all 100 and some odd just historical names of buildings and places and all that had to do with Billy Joel's life over the first 40 years that he was alive.
That was a tough one because that earworm, that song was in my head
Yeah.
for 3 weeks straight.
It was a list
4, really.
song, so it was just that constant, just kind of throwing it out. Joseph Marling, Johnny Ray, like all that, and each one I think people took for granted on what it was, not knowing or maybe knowing what it was, kind of. So when we broke down each one, I think it's the most. It's the episode that we get the most feedback on.
Definitely.
I think so, right? That group of things, and I think if somebody wanted to learn about the podcast, I would point them in that direction to start off. But anyway, so one of the people mentioned was Brigitte Bardot, and she had died right around the New Year. She died, I think, on December 28th. And so that leaves only 3 people alive from We Didn't Start the Fire. So for people who don't remember old BB, which is how I put her down, Brigitte Bardot, I'm going to refresh it and talk about the song. So I said it's 40 years of Billy Joel's life. The first 40 years of Billy Joel's life kind of documented with the prominent figures and events that popped up on his radar as he was growing up. Brigitte Bardot was mentioned when Billy was singing specifically about 1956. And here's the line. Bardot, which is Brigitte Bardot, Bardot, Budapest, Alabama, Khrushchev, Princess Grace, Peyton Place, Trouble in the Suez.
Trouble in the Suez.
And I always thought that line was Trouble in the Sewers. like when they had like
Sewers?
when they had alligators in the
Fair,
sewers and
fair.
shit, because I had the Brooklyn accent. Like people hated, don't go near the sewers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the same thing. Don't go near the Suez. So as opposed to the Suez Canal, I was thinking the sewers. But either way, Bardot got that mention, and that's because in the mid 50s, probably into the mid 1960s, Brigitte Bardot was one of the best known sex symbols in the world. And then she starred in And God Created Woman in 1956. And it was that film that established her international reputation as a French sex kitten. I put in the movie poster for that because it really is sex kittenish. You know, like she has a naturally open mouth with pouty lips, a little bit of buck teeth, and just, you know, gigantic fucking pendulous hams. And she starred in over 40 films, but quit acting in 1973, which was the year you were born.
Yes.
But in 1974, she kind of came out of retirement and appeared in a nude photo shoot in Playboy magazine celebrating her 40th birthday and her, I mean, miraculous hair diaper. If you look at the difference between her in 1956 and then you go forward, what would that be, 17 years, 18 years, to see what she was like in 1974, you could still tell it's Brigitte Bardot. I put the
How
naked
do I
picture
go
in
up?
for
I'm
everybody.
trying to look at her face, but I keep zooming.
It's still unmistakably her, but man, one of the things that first grabs your eye, Vibs, can you agree with me with that? Is that gigantic thatch that she has. God bless her.
I saw that when we were looking at before we got in here,
Sexy
and
or
that was the
not
first thing my
sexy?
eyes went to. You know, I'm not a big fan.
Okay.
I'm just gonna be honest.
Would you be grossed out in the moment? Would you be like,
It'd catch me. I'd be like, oh, okay.
I have so many segues into why we're doing a Twisted History of Brazil, including me just talking about vaginal hair.
I feel like it's
Pubic hair, right? Like Brazilians, like they tend to Brazil wax.
that would bother me.
Am I in the year 2026 or am I going back in time?
No,
to
you're you now, and all of
me
a
now.
sudden,
I'd be caught
you'd
off
be like-
guard if
All
I
right.
went in a time machine back in time. I'd be like, all right.
1974 Vibs, you're all over this.
Would you dig
Yeah,
your heels in and be like,
I it's part of the time.
Yes.
I gotta be cool. I gotta be hip.
I don't
you
think the
pretend-
photo does it enough justice. I mean, 2 dimensions, you know, I think you'd change your mind 3 dimensions. If it's right in front of you,
And I didn't
you'd probably be fine with it.
I didn't. So if you guys have the opportunity, Google the shit out of Brigitte Bardot Playboy. And one of the images that shows up is her standing up alongside a creek bed or something with her hands running through her hair.
I'm with you. To her hair on her head.
Her chest seemed to have gotten smaller
She's
from
touching
the
herself.
other stuff that we've seen of Brigitte Bardot. And then she has a definitive tan line that covers up just an absolute hair diaper.
There's no way that bikini covers that, by the way.
Love
Yeah.
the
Look
love
at the
tan
tan
line.
line.
Yeah, tan line is a thing.
There's no way. I mean, there's no way.
A little's peeking out for sure when she's
Big
yeah.
time. Or she's got like a gigantic like cushion underneath the bathing suit bottom. Right?
Cover it
Like
up a little bit.
Well, if you put a bathing suit bottom, you have to kind of like go over the hair, right? So it's kind of like
I
mounted.
guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
But-
That's
Yeah.
weird.
She died on December
No,
28th
no.
of 2025 at 91 years old in Saint-Tropez, France. And if you read any of her obituaries, in recent years she became a controversial figure. She's been fined 5 times for inciting racial hatred when she criticized immigration and Islam in France. So still a hotbed issue all around Europe and now even here in the United States. Not now, it's been for a while. And, you know, she was one of those people that was very outspoken. I don't want to talk about that, but I will say that she was a huge animal activist as she got older. I like this quote. I gave my beauty and my youth to men, and now I'm going to give my wisdom and experience to animals. That's pretty cool. Like,
right.
if you're going to go and do that without being overly, you know, annoying about it,
I think old people earn their right to have their opinions. They've put
I
up
hope
with
you
so
remember
much
that.
shit for so many years.
In one more year when I turn 55. I think, when am I officially old? Am I old now at 54? Definitely. But am I officially old at 55?
I think when you get the AARP
What year is that?
65.
65?
Right?
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping to Danny DeVito the next 10 years or so and kind of stay where I am now.
Dan DeVito's like 80.
Yeah, but I mean, he looks
How
the
old
same
is
as he
he?
did in the 1970s. And he's not been good looking ever in his life, but he looks
Yeah.
he looks arguably the same over, you know, that time. So Danny DeVito to me is the Rosetta Stone for how I want to finish off the rest of my life.
I also think it's when you retire because you just stop
Slow it down.
You're not in the real world anymore. You can just
Right.
be in your own little bubble, and you start to get a little weird.
Right.
And then that's when you kind of disconnect.
But I also think that I'm not hunting for fucking compliments here. I also think that in a bubble, if you were to spend some time with me and then I was to ask you how old I am, I think most people would be like, yeah, you're around 50 something. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I still think that not act my age. I'm a fucking infant. But I do give off like in a 50s type thing. I'm hoping I can kind of stay with that into my 60s. Like, you know what I mean?
For
I
sure.
think that's
Yes,
realistic,
yes.
you know, as opposed to being like, oh, I want to look 42 or some shit like
It'd
that.
be weird having a 20-something kid and not be in your 50s.
Yeah.
So I
That's
think,
that's
you
that's
know-
where it gets a
Well,
little
once they
creepy.
go to college, it doesn't count.
Yeah, and they're no longer kids, right? Yeah.
They're an adult.
What I did want to mention outside the animal activism before we move on from Brigitte Bardot is that she was like a muse for some legendary musicians. She was idolized, like they use the word idolized, by a young John Lennon and also Paul McCartney, and then a young Bob Dylan, who I think some people consider one of the greatest songwriters to ever live. He dedicated the first song he ever wrote to Brigitte Bardot. And you want to know why that last little tidbit is important? Because I mentioned above how Brigitte Bardot's death now leaves only 3 people alive out of the 59 people from We Didn't Start the Fire. Those 3 people that are left are Subway vigilante Bernie Getz, who I think is turning 79 in November.
I was very surprised to hear he was still
Yeah.
alive.
The dude who sung The Twist, Chubby Checker, who turns
Same.
85
That
in
shocks me.
October.
Right? Do
And
you
then-
think they were so close in age?
79 and 85, I guess. And then the last guy who's still alive happens to be the guy who dedicated the first song he ever wrote to Brigitte Bardot. That's Bob fucking Dylan. So it kind of brings it all the way around for us.
I'm glad you
know what I
mentioned it because I was over here Googling people that were mentioned in the song. Like Glenn Close, I kind of thought he was maybe still alive. No, he died in
Glenn Close?
2016.
Close is a
Or not
girl,
Glenn Close, the astronaut. Here, let me.
John
John Glenn.
Oh, John
Sorry.
Glenn. Oh, yeah,
Glenn
John
Close is
Glenn.
That
Oh,
was-
yeah, Glenn
that's
Close from
the
Michael.
Knives Out. The new Knives Out. She's
Glenn
in.
Close
Yeah.
played John Glenn in the movie.
Glenn Close was
yeah,
the
yeah.
one who attacked Michael Douglas in,
Yeah.
that crazy movie.
Yeah, I
you
won't be
like.
ignored, Dan.
She's a legend.
Fatal
Yeah.
Attraction.
Great
She
movie.
boiled the
I
rabbit.
never saw it.
Yeah.
That threw me. When you said Glenn Close, all I could think about was Glenn Close.
She's a
Yeah, she
legend.
was in the latest Knives Out. She did a good job, right?
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know.
You
Oh,
didn't see the latest Knives Out?
It's
I did.
1 incredible, 2 meh, 3 they're back.
Yeah, I thought that's the way it went.
No, I
with
liked it too. I didn't remember that she was in it. But,
Yeah,
What was
she was
she in
the
it?
she was
Did you
the
see that?
person who was the
oh yeah, she's the main villain. You're right.
who
right.
like kind of runs the church with
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. But anyway, so Bob Dylan, Chubby Checker, and Bernie Getz are the only 3 alive. Let's go Deadpool right now. $20 in a hat. We can have no dupes. Annie and I'll be one team. I'll let you go first, John. Who do you think?
Wait, I thought we were never officially doing this for fear of karma.
I can do it right now. I don't care. Especially
I tell you what, Twisted has jinxed so many people. Why the
might
hell
as well.
not at this point?
Who do you think will be the last man standing out of that group?
Can you give me the group again?
Bernie Getz.
Yeah.
He's going to be 79.
Right.
Chubby Checker. He's going to be 85. Chubby Checker's daughter actually used to play in the WNBA, by the way.
That's
And then
cool.
Bob Dylan, who's also turning 85.
He's alive.
Bob Dylan's 85.
Oh, he's first to go.
No,
Okay.
I-
No. So who's the last man standing?
Yeah.
Bernie
Chubby.
Getz.
You think
Oh,
Chubby
I see
stays?
Bernie.
He takes
No.
Chubby. Who do you take?
I'm taking Bernie Getz.
You take
Yeah.
Bernie Getz?
I mean,
All
he's the
then by
youngest.
de facto, we have Bob Dylan as making it the longest out of everything.
I'm jumping ship. I'm going on Fibsy's team.
Okay,
I
all
totally
right.
say
All right,
Bernie
you got
Getz.
Chubby Checker, his
that easy.
his name alludes to an unhealthy lifestyle. Like I don't trust him.
Right.
He outlived everybody at Brigitte Bardot in her hair diaper.
So we talked about Brigitte Bardot and we talked about her pubic mound and relating to Brazil, which is known for their Brazilian waxes.
push that in
Then we
advance?
talked about Brigitte Bardot and how
Beats me.
the We Didn't Start the Fire kind of circled back to the fact that Bob Dylan's still alive and wrote his first song about her. And I'm going to mention one more thing about Brigitte Bardot. She has 2 statues erected in her honor. The first one is in that town she died in, Saint-Tropez, France. It's a beautiful statue. It was erected in 2017 on a place called Place Blanqui. It's a bronze sculpture. It honors Bardot's lasting impact on the town's fame. And if you look it up, I included it in the little script thing. It is a beautiful statue.
That's pretty. It looks like Venus de Milo.
Yeah, she is like, she's naked, but she's covering up her naughty bits by the way she's crouched, sitting in a giant seashell. And in 2021,
It's an oyster
That-
shell, no?
yeah, it could be a scallop shell, I don't know. It was covered with gold leaf making it like this striking golden appearance. But if
think
I
it's
saw
like
this
this,
in the middle of a town square in Saint-Tropez, it would be kind of really cool. The second one that she has kind of stinks. And I put a picture of it,
Yeah.
and it's like, it doesn't even really look too much like Brigitte Bardot, but it's like a bronzy statue that's oxidizing. She's sitting on a suitcase, and tourists who, on this beachside setting, and tourists who come there will sit on her lap and take pictures, so you can see how the patina has kind of like gone away on her lap and on her shoulder where you sort of take pictures. But that that statue is in a small resort town that she had used. Her and her boyfriend had just wanted to get away from like the paparazzi and shit at one point. So they whisked away to a small fishing village. And that fishing village then became known as the Saint-Tropez of South America. So guys like Mick Jagger and stuff who just wanted to get away from the paparazzi would go there. And that place is Buzios in Brazil. So it kind of brings it back full circle, even though it's a terrible fucking statue. So that leads us into what we're going to talk about today, and that's the twisted history of Brazil. And this episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. The new year doesn't require a new you, maybe just a less burdened you, and therapy can help more easily identify what weighs you down by offering an unbiased perspective to better understand your relationships, motivations, and emotions. BetterHelp does the initial matching work for you so you can focus on your therapy goals. A short questionnaire helps identify your needs and preferences, and our 12-plus years of experience and industry-leading match fulfillment rate means we typically get it right the very first time. With over 30,000 therapists, BetterHelp is one of the world's largest online therapy platforms, having served over 5 million people globally. And it works, with an average rating of 4.9 out of 5 for a live session based on over 1.7 million client reviews. So, BetterHelp makes it easy to get matched online with a qualified therapist. That's the bottom line. So sign up and get 10% off at betterhelp.com/twisted. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/twisted. All right, let's talk about Brazil. Have anyone's been to Brazil?
No, not
I have
me.
not.
Yeah, I don't know. By the end of this podcast, maybe we can decide whether or not it's a good idea to go.
It kind of blows my mind that it's like in the Eastern time zone.
It's fucking nuts.
It's it's way more east than I thought it was. I thought it was way west underneath the United States.
I was looking at Venezuela because of all the headlines surrounding Venezuela, and I'd seen how massive Venezuela is, and probably more importantly, how massive the reserves are underneath Venezuela and in the Caribbean Sea, to the north of it. Saw how vast it was, and they were talking about 3 trillion cubic barrels of crude oil, and their crude oil is very crude, right? Instead of light sweet,
Thin.
they have heavy sour,
tar
so it
almost.
needs like a huge refinery process and all that stuff. And it kind of kicked me back to the time when I used to trade energy with Costi, so it was like crack spreads, which sounds dirty, but it's not, and all that stuff. And as I'm looking at a map of South America, I've never been to South America. I know nothing about it, and I certainly didn't know just how fucking big Brazil is. Like and then there's that old dad joke. Well, it's got to be big. It's got a Brazilian people. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I love that shit. Okay. Obviously, I used it on Brigitte the other day. It took her like a half a second, and then she's like, disappointed at me or whatever. But I would say so.
Amazon.
Yeah. The Amazon runs through fucking Brazil. Like it's massive. So I'm gonna talk to you just about the scope of it first. It's Venezuela's neighbor to the south, but South America is made up of 12 different countries. And Brazil is so large. How large is it?
How large
Yeah,
is
thank
it?
you.
Large?
It shares a border with 10 out of those 12 different countries in South America. So out of the 12, Brazil touches 10 of them. So the only 2 that Brazil doesn't border is Chile.
I was about to say, you're going to
Chile.
say it without an accent? We got to
And,
have Vibsy do it.
But if you look at
Chile.
Chile, very good. Chile runs on the western coast, the southwestern coast of South America. Chile is very, very thin, but it has a tremendous amount of beachfront property on the South Pacific Ocean, right? It kind of does that. And the only other place it doesn't border, that Brazil doesn't border, is Ecuador, which is relatively small, especially when you compare it to Brazil. And it's kind of jammed in South America's west coast as well, in between Colombia and Peru. So outside of little Ecuador and that side thing of Chile, Brazil touches everything.
You sound like
It's
what's
like
his
a Catholic
name?
priest.
From Ted Lasso.
Who's that?
When he says Chile, he's
Oh,
saying
Chile.
Chile.
Yeah. Jamie Tart.
Jamie
Jamie
Tart.
Tart.
Do,
I love
do, do,
Ted
do.
Lasso. It also sneakily shares a border with France because French Guiana remains a French overseas territory, and that lies just north of Brazil. So I'm going to put it into perspective before I go to the map thing for you, Vibsy. Like, Brazil is the 5th largest country in the world. I would have never have guessed that.
No, I wouldn't have either.
I don't know why I was so ignorant to Brazil. But so when you think of the biggest countries in the world, Russia jumps out, right? And Russia's number
Right.
1. Canada's number 2. We're talking about square miles or whatever.
Right.
Canada's number 2. Most of it's uninhabited, right? We've talked about how Canada, almost everyone lives, near the Great Lakes and whatnot.
Yep.
Like Great Lakes and up around the East Coast, Eastern Seaboard. And then
China.
Russia, Canada, China.
China.
Like we think about China. Then the United States. And
Yeah.
the United States, I think, is number 4. And then it's Brazil. Like I wouldn't have said that. I didn't
No.
think Brazil is bigger than Australia. Brazil is three.
Australia's big too.
I wouldn't
Australia's
guess that.
fucking
Yeah.
big. Brazil's bigger. Brazil is 3 times the size of India. Brazil's 3 times the size of Greenland, which we're probably going to take next. Maybe who knows?
Great movie.
Yeah, Greenland. No, it's not.
First
Brazil
one was good.
I don't know. I think we're
It
in a
was
good
enough
mood
for you to
that.
go see the second
Oh,
one.
it was cool. First one's cool.
First one was good.
Second one stunk.
Yeah,
I could
yeah,
tell you, we happened to watch the first one. We're talking about Greenland now. We're going to do a couple of movie reviews. Oh, I saw Nuremberg too.
I heard it was
I
good.
thought it
If
was
you're a
good.
history
I liked
fan,
it.
you'd like it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that Death by Lightning is the same way. I'm all over the road right now.
Yeah.
But there's a thing like Death by Lightning
That
that
was
we
good.
started.
Michael Shannon also.
We got to finish that.
Is-
But,
I did finish it. You fell asleep.
okay.
That's a series, not
Yeah.
a movie. Okay.
Yeah.
Only 4 though.
But you'll
think only 4
you'll
Okay.
recognize so many of the players in it. I'm not going to talk about it till I finish it. But
Matthew
I thought
McFadden
Nuremberg
was
was
in it.
good.
Yeah.
By the way, we're going to talk about Nazis today too.
Brazil.
But Greenland Greenland 2 was awful.
Yeah.
I don't know how the fuck got. And we saw it in the movie. We had a great sandwich.
What a great movie theater too,
Snuck a
right? The
great sandwich
screen
in.
was extra
They put it
large.
on one of those big
That
fucking
was cool.
screens. It wasn't worth it. So my point is that if you're looking at Brazil and you're like, wow, Greenland's pretty big, Brazil's 3 times the size of it. If you look at Mexico and you say Mexico's pretty big, Brazil's 3 times the size of Mexico, like just by square miles. Fucking huge. So that's it. It's the 7th biggest country by population, but the 5th biggest country by size. And we'll stay with geography for a second because to Jeff's point, maps are misleading. I think they've made them better as of late, but if you ever see like how actually the Earth is when they flatten out the globe, the way that we were traditionally taught in school, maps don't show you the size of Greenland, the real size of
Don't even
that.
show you where Alaska and Hawaii really are.
Yeah, exactly. But they'll also almost kick South America directly south of North America, and that's just not true. And then when you look at Brazil, it's such a fucking anomaly because you don't see how the Atlantic Ocean actually gets pinched in between South America and Africa at one point. So try to follow me with this one. If you're looking at Brazil, right, on a map, the easternmost tip of Brazil is closer to Africa than it is to the westernmost tip of Brazil.
This is a great segue into why they speak Portuguese.
Yes. And then, so you have that. It's closer to Africa than it is to West Brazil. And then if you look at the northernmost tip of Brazil, it's closer to Canada than it is to the southernmost tip of Brazil. That blew my fucking mind. I think Brazil exists east of Detroit, the whole fucking
Well,
country.
I said it was in the Eastern time zone. It's like 2 time zones ahead of the Eastern time zone.
They have
it's
4
so
time
much
zones.
farther than I think.
Brazil has 4 time zones.
That's crazy. Yeah.
It's the only country.
We got to clean up the time zones, though. I mean,
do.
What are we doing?
I agree. It's a disgrace. And, I'm with you 100%. It's the only country in the world where the equator and the Tropic of Capricorn crosses through it, which is nuts to me. John had mentioned that the Amazon River runs through Brazil, so just that forest, the Amazonian rainforest, contains more tree species than all of North America, right? And we have the redwood forest. I mean, North America has a very varied landscape as well with a lot of tree species in it
For sure.
because you can go from palm trees to great, redwoods to whatever the hell it is.
Coniferous forest.
Yeah, it gets eclipsed by just the Amazonian forest in Brazil. And on top of like the flora, animal species, 20% of the world's species of animals reside in Brazil. 1 in 5 animals in the whole fucking
That's
world
nuts.
come from Brazil. I don't know why. That fucking blew my mind. Australia has the reputation for having the most species that wants to kill you, right? Like everyone
Without a
says,
doubt.
I'm going to go to Australia, I'm going to get bit by a snake, eaten by a shark, and then punched to death by a fucking kangaroo. But it's not even close to Brazil. If you want to die, Brazil has an island that just has venomous snakes on it, and humans are banned from visiting it. It's called Ilha de Comida Grande, or Snake Island. The snakes had become trapped on this island thousands of years ago, following the end of the last ice age when rising ocean levels disconnected the island from the mainland. The ensuing evolutionary pressure allowed the snakes to adapt to their new environment, increasing rapidly in population and rendering the island dangerous to public visitation. So Comida Grande is closed to the public for the protection of both people and of the snakes, and access is only available to the Brazilian Navy and selected researchers. The star of the island is the critically endangered venomous golden lancehead pit viper, which can be found nowhere else in the fucking world outside of this tiny little snake island. It's 104 acres off the coast of Brazil. It's just filled with venomous snakes, and it's on a migratory path for birds who like see a beautiful 106-acre little thing. They land there, and then a venomous golden lancer pit viper kills them and then lives for another couple of years.
Dead in minutes.
Brazil is fucking deadly, right?
Never
Yeah.
find
You know?
Indiana Jones there.
Yeah.
The legend goes too that we haven't explored as much of the Amazon. So some of this
It's untapped. It's like the human
Yeah.
brain, right?
Ooh.
it's a
Also,
lot harder to get to than just walking across Australia.
right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Not to say that that's easy, but
No, you're right. But like those ultra marathoners. Like it's not like something you can do just go
the
in.
topography is just crazy
Yeah.
different.
Yeah. I will tell you too, so what I'm saying is don't visit Brazil, I guess. That's kind of
Or
what I'm saying.
if you
Yeah,
are,
yeah.
it's going to be,
Yeah.
at your own demise, if so be it.
They get hit with lightning more than anywhere else in the world. They
That's
get
crazy.
78 million lightning strikes a year. 78 million seems like a big number of lightning strikes. Seems like a big number to count.
That's
too.
made
Is that
up.
is that just 'cause
Is it?
it's-
Who's
77,
counting lightning?
77.8 million on average lightning strikes in Brazil
Well,
a year.
are they
most
glass
of it,
exporters?
most of it
That's
is
right.
no. Most of it, well, because it's a
Over the-
combination of the weather and the altitude and the humidity in the air. Remember the lightning storms we used to get in Atlanta?
Oh yeah, that was cool.
They
were awesome.
Being Northerners, we moved down to Atlanta. We lived there for a little over a year, and I'm telling you, the fucking lightning fucking storms in the South. I've been cursing about it.
watch those storms roll in off the porch.
My sweet tea,
Yeah.
my Milo sweet tea,
Things move a little bit slower.
chicken and a biscuit.
I love it.
They also have their own nut. The Brazil nut tree is a large tree reaching heights of 160 feet tall, making it one of the largest trees in the Amazon rainforest. And like I said, the Amazon rainforest has more trees than all the rest of North America put together. It may live for 500 years and more and can often reach 1,000 years of age. So the Brazil nut tree is legit. Brazil nuts and filberts, I always thought they were the same thing, but filberts actually are more like chestnuts. And I'm going to mention it right now. In North America, as early as 1896, Brazil nuts were sometimes known by the slang term N-word toes. And I can tell you right now, I'm not going to say the N-word. I've heard that.
I've
You're
heard
right.
it.
I've heard like where in mixed nuts,
Yeah.
like I don't know, if you get a thing of mixed nuts and you're sitting at a bar, I go for the cashews.
Every time.
I'm
Yeah.
one of those fucking idiots that touches nuts that other people have to eat to get to my cashews or the spicy peanuts. And that's not the
Right.
right thing to do.
No.
But I can tell you, person from Brooklyn, I will not mention any names, when I was young, she had said to me, oh, if you're not going to eat them, I'll eat all the N-word toes.
Right, right.
And I was like, oh my God. And they're just these dark nuts that normally have like a shaving of the skin off where it would be lighter for the nail. So it does kind of resemble a darker toe.
Right.
But man, that's bad.
Right,
That is
right.
bad.
Yeah. All right, so if anyone ever offers you a Brazil nut, I'm not saying to come up with that old name for it, but just keep it in the back of your mind. Might be something to talk about at a bar, but not without doing this first. Looking over each shoulder because you could really fuck people up. Brazil is divided into 26 states and one federal district. They essentially have a D.C., with the capital, Brasilia, located in that federal district. Brasilia is a newer city that was actually built to become the new capital of the country when it was moved from Rio de Janeiro in 1960. And it's a weird, it kind of has more of a prefab look to it than any of the other, older cities down in South America or wherever else you want to go to. And if you look at the capital of Brazil from the air, when you look at Catholic churches from the air, they're all shaped like crosses. Do you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so if
cool.
for the most part, any Catholic church that was built a long time ago, cathedrals and whatnot, they have that part with the altar, then it has the wings, and then the body for the church. So it just happens to play into the fact that it's shaped like a cross. Similarly, if you look at Brasilia from the air, it looks like an airplane. It was built to look like an airplane. Kind of cool, but it is what it is. So Sao Paulo is the largest city in Brazil, with over 20% of the country's population living there. Rio is the second largest and was the capital until 1960 when it was moved inland to Brasilia. By the way, Rio, we're going to talk about a little bit about Rio. Rio de Janeiro, everyone knows Rio de Janeiro.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It translates to River of January. And the reason being is when the Portuguese had landed there, they had seen this gigantic river, and they landed in January, so they called it River of January. The only problem is that was just a bay that looked like the mouth of a river, but it wasn't. So Rio de Janeiro doesn't have any rios in it. It doesn't have any fucking rivers in it. It's kind of weird.
Quick thing too: the Portuguese were setting ships around the Horn of Africa.
Yeah.
And then so this one spun out in a storm, lands in Brazil.
Brazil, yeah.
That's how it goes.
Right.
But they were sending so many ships around it to India,
Yeah.
right? The Silk Road, all that.
It's funny to think about it too, John, in that respect, because Portugal is so small. Like I was explaining to Brigitte about the English Empire, and she's like, Little England? I'm like, yeah, the sun didn't set on the English Empire forever. There's a calendar full of days with people just celebrating their independence from England, like our 4th of July. Like there's another 300 some odd days with people who do that. And I think the same can be said about Portugal, because I think it's a pretty well-known fact that there are more Portuguese-speaking people in Brazil, Portuguese is the national language in Brazil, than there are in Portugal. But Portugal isn't even like number 2. Portugal's like the third most Portuguese speakers in the world behind Angola. Angola, which was also settled or whatever by the Portuguese, has more Portuguese speakers than Portugal himself.
That's cool.
Yeah, and I think so if you go to Brazil and you ask what to pack, you could spend a week in the mountains with people who look extremely German. You could spend a week at the beach with people who looked very Portuguese. There's a huge Japanese culture inside of Brazil, which makes it one of the more exciting places. Listen, you got the poisonous snakes and 8 million lightning strikes. I get that. But the cuisine there is as varied as anywhere else in the world. So it's one of those places where they have everything. The genetic makeup there is so diverse. It's said that Brazil has so many people from different parts of the globe that if for some reason the human race were to just be wiped out everywhere but Brazil, every culture would be able to cultivate back again just with people who are in Brazil.
That's a cool fact.
And that's because that's why I'd asked you. I think Brazilian supermodels are very, by definition, hot. But if you look at like a list of Brazilian supermodels, they don't look alike.
They all look different. I have the
Every-
top 10 right here, and they're all...
Every one of them. Adriana Lima does not look like Gisele Bündchen.
No.
Like, right? I mean, she does not look like Alessandra Ambrosio. These are huge names, right? Like in that, you can't, there are some similarities, right? Because there are regional ones, but Isabel Goulart or whatever it is, she doesn't look like any of them either.
But they
Yeah.
all have an exotic look.
I guess
Yeah.
you could say the
Right.
same thing about Americans, but that's
I think so.
Yeah.
Like, I think,
Well,
but
Giselle isn't from there, though.
yeah,
Oh, wait,
I believe she's from
I believe-
Brazil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is she?
I,
Yeah.
I
I thought
see
she
your
was from
point.
California.
No, she's from
No.
Brazil.
Really?
Yeah, I kind of see your point. Like,
Yeah, like I
Interesting.
think, but I do think that when they say,
like the Brits, if you got a British list,
yeah, like the Miss Britain will kind of look like Miss Britain.
Yeah.
Yes, steak and kidney pie, governor. You know, Miss USA tends to look like Miss USA. Miss Brazil can look like anything, except to Annie's point, they're all exotic and gorgeous.
Yeah.
They love football, which is the
Football.
that's one of the
Football
greatest
is
things.
life.
Yeah. Their economy is the 9th largest in the world. They're the largest exporter of coffee. So 1 out of every 3 cups of coffee consumed globally comes from Brazil. Eat that. They're also one of the biggest exporters of chicken, beef, sugar, orange juice, and soccer players. The richest 1% account for nearly 40% of the country's wealth and live in walled-in communities. If you want to see personal moats, go to Brazil. If you want to see houses that are no bigger than the houses that we live in, like I'm not talking about just the mansions in
Are
L.A.
you saying we can have a moat?
Yeah, they have electrified fences and 10-foot stone walls around them. They build their houses like castles to keep the people who don't have out, and then everybody else lives in favelas, right? Like
Right.
those stacked on top of shanty towns that you see mostly in the movies and whatnot.
Right.
But
Right.
those favelas now have their own, Wi-Fi connections and stuff like that. So some of the favelas are actually pretty nice, and they're brick homes and whatnot. But otherwise, they like some of the ones in the, less attractive areas of Brazil, they look like almost cardboard boxes stacked on top of each other.
That was a big. I remember Brazil hosted the World Cup in 2014, and
Right.
this was like a big discussion because they had the favela in the background of a lot of the shots and like the desks, like I think it was NBC.
Yeah.
And behind them was like the favelas, and it's like, what was that like appropriate? But to your point, they were like, this is the neighborhood that we're
That's it.
in.
Yeah.
And that was the first World Cup that I think was all 4K on TVs too. So it was
Yeah.
big for Brazil.
So Man on Fire, where the hell was that?
I believe that was in Colombia.
Yeah,
Colombia.
I was
Like
about to say
that also had that favela look to it and whatnot. But to your point with World Cup, I had said they love football. They have over 1,000 soccer stadiums in Brazil.
Or was it Mexico City?
Might have been Mexico City.
Because
Where
it's
I
like
spent some
one
time.
in 5 people are kidnapped.
That's right.
every-
Yes,
yeah.
that could be it. But that's the feel that I get when I think about favelas. By the way, Man on Fire, solid movie.
That was a great
Who directed?
movie.
Do you remember
Crazy. Was it Anton Fuqua also?
that's a good.
Might be.
Good
Tony
guess.
Tony Scott?
Tony Scott. Okay. Yeah.
It's damn it was Mexico City.
Was Mexico
Yeah,
City?
yeah.
You got me. No, but I think like that's the feel that I get when I think about favelas.
He's loading the gun with the bullet and like timing himself and
Creasy? Yeah, he's the fucking best.
Creasy Bear.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she was great in that too.
It's on
She was
Netflix
great.
right now.
She was very good. Is she the same girl that was in that
Dakota,
last?
right?
Dakota Fanning.
Dakota
Yeah.
Fanning?
Was she in the last Predator Badlands?
That's her sister,
Yeah.
That's Elle.
Elle Fanning.
Elle Fanning.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I think Dakota is kind of retired, right?
She
She's
just
been in
put out
something.
that she was just recently
Okay,
in that
good
show
for her.
that I watched on who was the woman comes home
Because I always get her
the
confused with
kidnapped. We just watched it with the girl from Succession. Her kid was kidnapped.
Oh, right.
I wanted to see that. Is it good?
Vicious?
I thought it was good.
Okay,
Yeah,
I wanna
watch
can't
that.
think the
Is it called Vicious?
No,
that was her last movie.
that was called like Price or something, right? Or Innocent or no?
I don't know. It's like that girl
something.
Pris, I think, from
Yeah.
Secession,
Right.
and then her kid goes missing.
Oh,
and it was supposed to be
all
in a
her fault.
Yes.
Yeah, all her
Exactly.
fault.
Yeah,
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 That's exactly what
I
it was.
almost started that, but it looked a little heavy.
That was a tough fucking title too.
Yeah.
Because when
Yeah.
somebody loses a kid, and somebody goes, "Well, you left him out there. It's all your fault."
Yeah.
Like I was like, Jesus Christ, because I remember I've taken my eyes off the kids in the ball pits and shit like that, and that was the first thing she would have said. It's your
is
fault,
not-
you bitch. But anyway, so they have 1,000 soccer stadiums. Again, most in the world. Nobody has 1,000 soccer stadiums in their country but Brazil. They're the only country, and this goes back to John's point, they're the only country to qualify for every World Cup. They've never missed a World Cup since 1930.
That's wild.
And they have the most championships with 5.
Oh, there haven't been that many World Cups.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
they spread it
It's
out.
not the Olympics.
But still.
To make it every year, yeah.
And they have 5. Like right, and nobody else has that. So they're the lead. They also have more gold medals than anyone else in beach volleyball, which is
Yeah.
really
Don't
great.
they have more beaches than anywhere?
I guess, but I mean maybe Chile
Chile.
has some too.
But I don't know if those are tropical beaches. You know
I don't
what
know
mean?
either.
I think they get a little cold
Yeah.
as you go down
I
south.
don't think they have the population for the athletes either.
No. So they have all these beach volleyball, and I watch that a lot because I'm a little perverted. When the Brazilian national team, football team, is playing, crime rates in some of the most dangerous favelas decrease. I just burped. crime rates in some of the most dangerous areas decreased by more than 80%. So it's the only thing that stops crime is when the fucking national team is playing. Ronaldo, not the Ronaldo that we know, the other Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, Neymar Jr., but perhaps the most famous soccer player of all time from Brazil has got to be Pele.
Right.
I grew up watching Pele. He was among the most successful and popular sports figures of the 20th century. I think he shares the best soccer player of the 20th century honors with that dude from Colombia who used to do all the coke. What was that guy?
Wait, you're talking about Pablo Escobar?
No, the soccer
yeah,
player.
yeah.
Didn't they have
The
like
guy, they just showed him like doing a bump in between
Yeah.
like penalty kicks. What
Wasn't he the one where they,
Was he
like,
the one that
the-
snorted the line on the?
Yeah,
like the
no, that
out-of-bounds
was the other
line?
guy. That was also, he was
Oh,
making fun of him. But who?
Hulk?
No,
No.
I'm going to talk about
A
Hulk.
current guy.
No, an
Didn't they
older
have
dude.
a referee went against him and they tortured the guy.
And the guy,
there was a
like,
video
killed
of
or
it and they
something.
never saw him again.
Is it Carlos Valderrama?
No, come on,
Because there's a
man.
side good. I know we're getting back to this, but have you seen the two Escobars? That's a
No.
great documentary about Pablo Escobar and the other.
That's a 30 for 30, right?
Yeah, and it was in the '96 World Cup. All of that.
As soon as I say,
Mario Jardel.
no, you got
Good record.
Maradona.
Maradona.
Diego Maradona.
Diego
Yeah,
Maradona.
the hand of
That name.
God, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that whole deal. So him and Pele are mentioned in the same breath all the time. Pele was from Brazil. He has 1,279 goals. Oh, he's from Argentina.
Yeah.
Yeah, my bad. 1,279 goals in 1,363 games, which is recognized as a Guinness World Record. And as the kids say, Pele was him. Like when it was soccer, it was fucking Pele. He was the guy.
Everybody knew
played for the
Pele.
Cosmos for a little while and
Yes,
stuff
yes.
like that.
Oh, my
He was
God.
the guy. Since he passed away
remember them.
in 2022 at the age of 82, but in 1999, I told the story before, he and his wife were about to be kidnapped by a group of gunmen. They're like, because there's a lot of
We did this on
carjacking in
serial
Brazil.
killers too, I think.
Yeah, and they stopped him with like rusty fucking scimitars and old Uzis. They open up the door to the limo and they're like, we're about to take you, and it's Pele and his wife. They're like, sorry, Pele, close the door and like get the fuck out of here. He was carjacked again in 2008, and they wound up taking some jewelry from him because kids between 1999 and 2008 just went down.
They
the
got no
crapper.
respect.
John had said Hulk. So John had mentioned Hulk. I remember Hulk because when my son used to watch soccer,
Yeah.
it was the other Ronaldo, Cristiano Ronaldo, Hulk, Neymar Jr., Messi, obviously. But Hulk was one of these guys who I always thought, first of all, he was gorgeous. I mean, the guy was ripped like an action figure. That's why they called him
Yeah.
Hulk. But his name was Givanildo Vieira de Sousa. I'll never say that again because I love calling him Hulk. He just ended, well, he didn't just end. He ended his 12-year marriage to a young lady named Irene Angelo in July of 2019. When they were married, this Brazilian soccer star Hulk, while they were married, they had 3 children together, 2 boys and a girl, 2019. A couple of months after getting divorced, he publicly confirmed a relationship with his ex-wife's niece. Right?
Yeah, they were all over social last week.
Yeah. And the pair started dating in 2019, and then they finally tied the knot in 2020 and recently celebrated a lavish religious wedding in 2025. I think he paid like $4 million for the wedding ceremony with a multi-day ceremony in Paraíba, which I don't know what it is. They already have 2 daughters together, Zaya and Aisha. So, yes, Hulk is now married to his own kids' cousins,
Yeah.
right?
It's his
yeah.
cousin. Or
He's
his,
married to his own kid's cousin,
Right. It's his wife's cousin, so it's not blood. There's no
which is
blood
his wife's
line.
niece.
Yeah.
His wife's niece. So it's the kid's cousin. But
No, it's
there's
wife's sister's kid. So it's
It's his
yeah.
wife's sister's
It's his
kid.
niece.
But
it's
remember,
his niece, but there's no blood relation.
but remember when we were talking about
Not that it makes it better, but
Yeah.
that guy from the Rolling Stones who was banging the young girl, and then his son started banging the young
Right.
girl's
Yes,
mom.
I do remember
So
that.
like the son became the dad's grandfather. Like I'm trying to get my mind around.
This one's easier than that.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just his niece.
yeah, it's just there's just no. It's like it would be like if I married your brother's kid. There's no blood relation between the
Yeah,
two.
but still, his kids,
his kid's blood relationship.
his
yeah,
new kids
correct.
are cousins to his old kids.
To his
Yeah, first once
Correct.
removed, as they
Something
say.
like that,
Something
yeah.
like that. But
His
yeah.
kids.
It's not that creepy,
His
to be
new
honest
kid-
with you, now that I said it out loud. And by the
Well-
way, what's diabolical is
Well, it
saying...
usually is depending on your
Right.
family situation.
Yeah, well, but the way that I said it,
His
I
new
was
kid
trying to
is
make
his
it...
old kid's cousins.
Yeah.
Correct.
Right. So his new
Right.
kids are cousins to his old kids.
And siblings.
Isn't that fucking wild?
Yeah.
But anyway, I
The new
should...
modern family.
Yeah, I should say that, like to Annie's point, it's not blood. It was his wife's niece.
Correct.
And two, the girl was a little bit older. So
Right.
I think
and we don't know if it's like maybe she's a stepdaughter to
yeah,
you know,
his
we don't know
ex-wife
that
was
either.
around his age, but this niece that he married is less than 5 years younger than him. I think it would be creepy if it was like a Woody Allen
It's still
thing,
creepy,
Right.
no
where it
matter how
shows
you
up.
look at it because they're family.
Yeah,
Like,
but it's not as
confusing,
creepy
but it's not-
as the headline probably
right.
says.
It's not incestuous.
All right. Let's talk about the reason why we're doing this podcast, the Brazilian waxing. So in the 1970s, Brazil's beaches were filled with bikinis, and bikinis had become like the thing of the day. So were these older women, they were the J sisters. If you Google J sisters now, almost all the pictures of it, you don't have to, are the girls who are married to the Jonas Brothers. Like the J
yeah.
sisters are what they call the Jonas Brothers' wives now, but the real J sisters are these old Brazilian women that just wax vaginas. So in the 1970s, they were doing that all over the beaches in and around Brazil, and they decided to open up a shop in the United States, in California, near Hollywood, and every starlet would go to them. So some of the most famous pubic mounds in Hollywood at that time were waxed by these J sisters. And because they were from Brazil, that's why it's called a Brazilian wax. But if you look at the chart that I put in there too, the Brazilian wax, I always thought meant 100% bald.
Same.
Oh no.
There's a tiny little Hitler mustache.
There's a
There's
little
a
landing
landing
strip.
strip.
Yep.
Yes, that's
Tiny little
exactly.
one, and it's for the string bikini to kind of go up a little
Yes.
bit, like to give something. Whereas the full bald look, the J sisters had deemed the Hollywood. So if you think that the Brazilian wax is just you're looking like a newborn, that's the Hollywood, and then the real Brazilian wax, they leave a tasteful little landing strip in there. But that was then. This is now, and now it's the Brazilian butt lifts. It's wild how they're at the forefront of that
Yeah,
technology.
well, they have so many. They influence so many cultures that they
I guess,
they
yeah.
bring it back to all their, you know.
I was worried you weren't going to get to it. We've been doing a lot of Brazilian waxing talk, and we haven't talked about the butt. We've been talking about the front, but not the back.
Right, and you're a big butt guy.
I'm a big butt guy.
So the difference, and again, I didn't know this either.
A big butt guy, or is it an adjective, or you were just a big fan?
Both.
Ah,
Nice.
very well played.
So this procedure originated in Brazil in the late 20th century under the name gluteal sculpture, when surgeons began looking to pioneer a technique that combined the principles of liposuction and fat transfer to create a stunning, natural-looking enhancement to the buttocks. So I guess the difference between a BBL and some sort of implants is that there are no implants at all. They take fat from other parts of your body
Right.
and they inject. So you're almost getting lipo where you want it, and you're getting enhancement where you want it with it. So it kind of makes sense.
I always thought the Brazilian butt lift started with the dancing, like the way they danced, like their heritage created this peachy type rear end that women who weren't from that demographic would try to recreate with cosmetic surgery, whereas they're like.
I would love if that was true because that's a better story, but it's just that they're decided to do this gluteal sculpturing where some brilliant Brazilian physician had sucked out the fat, purified it, and then strategically injected it into specific regions of the buttocks, enhancing their shape and contour. But like everything else, there's a downside, right? There's the notorious BBL smell. But, so Kim Kardashian has one, Kylie Jenner, Iggy Azalea, Black China, Cardi B, they all got it, but there's the BBL smell, which refers to a temporary, often, listen to these words, sour and musty odor after a Brazilian butt lift caused by fluid drainage, sweat, and bacteria buildup in moist surgical areas. That won't put you to sleep. Some people say I have a calming voice. When I say that you have a sour, musty odor coming from your Brazilian butt lift because of fluid drainage in a moist surgical area, nothing could turn me off more.
It's like the keto diet.
And it's made worse by limited post-op mobility and a strong, persistent smell with redness, swelling, and fever. Ugh. I couldn't imagine trying to mount something and just getting myself over that
I
fucking
won't
hump.
dye my hair.
Yeah, exactly. Let's talk about parties. Everyone knows that Brazil has the best parties. In New Year's Eve of 1994, Rod Stewart had a concert in Rio. Do you even know who Rod Stewart is?
Oh yeah. Well, there's the infamous story that he.
Oh, blew a soccer team.
Oh, I thought it was the L.A. Lakers.
Oh, no, I think...
What?
I thought
Whoa,
he...
whoa, whoa,
And he had to have
whoa.
his
Wait,
stomach
and
pumped.
He had to have his
enlighten
stomach
me. I
pumped.
don't know either one of these. What?
Yeah, so a couple of stories from my youth were that time, I think... Maybe like Mick Jagger ate a Snickers bar out of David Bowie's asshole. Like that was one of them.
Well,
there's the
Really?
Richard Gere
Richard Gere,
hamster.
the hamster.
That
Yeah.
I've
Then
heard.
there's the, I think the Led Zeppelin ones were all true. Like the one with the brook trout where they had violated some girl in a hotel with a fucking live fish or something like that. But the Rod Stewart one was that he'd gotten drunk. He blew his soccer team is what I'd heard. I like the fact that you had it now as the LA Lakers.
Right.
And he had ingested so much semen that he had to have his stomach pumped.
Turns out it was just Boy George.
Yeah, it might have been Boy George, yeah. But either way,
He had a similar
Boy
not
George.
rumor, but
I
just
love.
like,
I mean, Boy George. He kidnapped a guy, chained him to his fucking radiator, and then brought out like almost if you're a chef going to a different restaurant, you bring like that leather thing that folds out and it's all your
Every
knives.
horror
Right.
movie.
He like took something out and rolled it out. It was all like dildos and fucking. And so this guy basically broke the radiator and ran out naked. And Boy George went to prison for that, for like, keeping somebody in captivity. But we're going back to Rod Stewart, the guy who definitely blew a soccer team somewhere on the line.
Football.
Rod Stewart.
Allegedly.
Football team.
Yeah, he had a
Allegedly.
concert in Rio de Janeiro, had 4 million people in attendance. And to see 4 million
To see
people
Rod Stewart?
on a single beach was awesome to
Brazil
look at.
goes crazy for it's like they
They go
don't
hard.
get artists
Yes.
down there that much, so when they come, they go wild.
Are there
2024,
tickets, or is it just people showing up?
2024 they had
this
Lady
was back in
Gaga.
the day too. This was-
1994,
Yeah.
2024, so less than 2 years ago, Lady Gaga was there. She had 2.4 million people on that same beach
Rod
Yeah.
outdid
listening
her.
to her. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, Rod, yeah. Then there's
Brought the
Carnival. Carnival is the most popular holiday in Brazil. It's become an event of huge proportions. It starts on the Friday before Ash Wednesday, right? So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, then Ash Wednesday, which marks the beginning of Lent, because between Catholics and Protestants, which are all underneath that Christian umbrella, Brazil is about 90% Christian. So everyone kind of adheres to some sort of Lenten thing if they're practicing Christians. They celebrate in every town in Brazil, but Rio, the place without a Rio, is considered the biggest celebration of Carnival in the world, with 2 million people per day on the streets, and that had started in 1723.
You think that's what Duran Duran was talking about when they said her name was Rio and she dances on the sand?
Perhaps.
Well, she was at Rod Stewart's concert.
She was at Rod Stewart's concert. So if you want to talk about Mardi Gras with the cruise and stuff like that, like Rio puts Mardi Gras to shame.
Right.
And there are multiple like queens of Carnival, but there's only one guy that's assigned the king of Carnival, and he's called King Momo every year. And it's not necessarily like a huge celebrity, so it's not like you're going to look at it and see like Bradley Cooper was King Momo in 2022. It's always like a big dude who's like a big partying dude with a crown while these scantily dressed Brazilian girls are dancing around. I love the idea that I'd like to be fucking King Momo. I won't
Momo.
be, but it's one of those things
could
where I
be,
want
though.
to. Yeah. Thank you, sweetheart. I'll mention the
absolutely
statue
could be.
real quick because it's synonymous with Brazil. That statue is Christ the Redeemer. I think everyone has seen it. It's up on the mountaintop. It was constructed between 1922 and 1931. The statue itself is just under 100 feet high. But it's 125 feet high if you include the pedestal. It faces east. The arms stretch 92 feet wide, and it's made of reinforced concrete and soapstone. It weighs 635 metric tons, and it's located at the peak of a 2,300-foot Corcovado mountain overlooking the city of Rio de Janeiro. So 230 feet in the air, there's a 125-foot high white statue of Jesus Christ with his arms extended over Rio de Janeiro. The statue is the largest Art Deco style sculpture in the world. Brazil has a lot of records. Well, I mean, I keep mentioning biggest in the world. And on top of being a global symbol of Christianity, the statue has also become a cultural icon for both Rio de Janeiro and Brazil, and was voted one of the new 7 wonders of the world. So the new 7 wonders of the world are Christ the Redeemer statue, big names here, the Great Wall of China, ever hear of it? Petra in Jordan, which is like one of those ancient cities that you kind of see.
This is man-made.
Yeah, man-made. Yeah, like carved out of the
Etched
mountain.
into the-
Yeah, so Petra is one of those. The Colosseum in Rome. Yeah, so this is the new 7 wonders. So it's not like the Hanging Gardens of Babylon and that type of shit. The Colosseum, Chichen Itza, the Mayan temple in Mexico, Machu Picchu, which is fun to say after saying Chichen Itza. And Chichen Itza was Mayan, Machu Picchu is the Incas, I believe. And then the Taj Mahal in India. Those are the 7.
I didn't know Machu Picchu was man-made.
Yeah.
I thought it was just. I guess I didn't really.
Yeah.
Fucking aliens.
And if you
Right.
if you look at
I never looked at it.
when they decided to name the new 7 wonders, there was like 30 or 40 different wonders that were up for vote on this. So if you notice, like the Great Pyramids of Giza are not on that. Like, and that was a man-made wonder as well. And one of the reasons why Christ the Redeemer got in is that the local telephone company in Brazil, whereas everywhere else in the world, I think where you were voting on these things, the local telephone company in Brazil made voting free. So everyone else, back then, you probably won't remember it, but come vote for American Idol, local rates apply, or charge you 50 cents to call this 1-900 number to do it.
Right.
They did it for free. So they had like a shitload of people call in, and they won in a landslide. So they won not in a landslide, but they definitely won, but it's controversial. And going back to the lightning stat from above, Christ the Redeemer, the statue, is struck by lightning 8 times a year, 6 to 8 times a year. And I put in a picture of it getting hit, and it's getting hit in the hand. That's ballsy.
It looks awesome.
Yeah. And it does not minimal damage, but it does the type of damage where they don't have to then go up and fix it every time that it gets hit. But it's a relatively
It's like the
easy
Verrazano.
fix. Yeah. So should we go to Brazil? I guess that's the question that I'm asking. And I would think if you're looking at crime rates and whatnot, it's not good. Like, it's not a safe place to go.
Well, to go somewhere that doesn't have a moat.
Like, if you go to the better parts of Brazil,
Right.
100% you should go. But I think it's one of those things like John's talking about. If you just want to backpack across Brazil, I probably wouldn't recommend it there.
Yeah, I agree.
I have a friend who's from Brazil, and she left Brazil to move to New York City because she didn't feel safe in Brazil. And I was like, all right, so New York City, that's a place to go, right?
Yeah. And I think, like, New
How long
Yorkers...
2 years ago,
And where is she now?
like right around
I
this
thought you were
area.
going to be like, she's back in
no,
Brazil.
she's right around this area, which
Yeah.
is
She hairless?
yeah, which is the fent-leaning capital of the world.
Right.
New York City, right by Madison Square Garden.
And I don't know if this can be considered objective or whatever, but sometimes people in Brazil are used to it, how shitty it is, and sometimes in New York people complain about more than it is shitty. Not that New York isn't shitty. I think the place is a fucking dump. I do, but I think that on average, if you're just looking at crime statistics, Brazil is a pretty dangerous place to be.
For sure.
Please go there on vacation and use the resorts and all that kind of stuff. But I don't want to make this out to be, even though I told you about the poisonous snakes and all the lightning, I don't want to make this out to be like one of those places where I think that you can walk around at night and use an ATM or keep your cell phone out.
Yeah.
But so many
But
people
I don't know
have
any
the
place that is
Amazon
anymore.
and the Christ statue on their bucket list.
Oh, 100%.
You know, so
Remember Ryan Lochte?
Yeah.
Did
No.
you like faked being mugged?
Oh,
though?
right.
Yeah.
The gas station incident. In the
Yeah.
Olympics.
Yeah. Oh, and another
They
thing.
hosted the Olympics right before the World Cup.
Yeah, but
Yeah, it's crazy.
The Eagles were down in Rio, and
Oh, they were here
someone on the
more
team
recently.
got robbed. They
I
kept,
didn't think so. I
oh,
thought, I
they kept
can't
telling
remember.
everyone you got to stay in the hotel, like don't go
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
But I'm pretty sure one person got like their watch stolen or something.
Really?
Like that. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I can tell you, we just did the NASCAR race last year in Mexico City.
Yeah.
With Creasy, and Mexico City was lovely. We stayed in like some really, really nice places. Even though I did get a bout of that Montezuma's Revenge, which I felt
bit?
almost killed me, and I have nothing but negative stuff to say about that bacteria in particular.
Otherwise, you had a ball.
I felt relatively safe. But the first time they'd gone to Mexico City, like 19 years prior to that, Denny Hamlin was held up with like by knife point, and
right,
they'd go
right.
into like an ATM and get enough out, or else they would have stabbed him or something like that.
crazy, yeah.
So I think it's all subjective. So go to Brazil, don't go to Brazil. But before you do, there are a couple of customs, one of them which grosses me out. I believe if you see a woman, it's a lot of those kiss on both cheeks type thing, which
Yeah.
I don't mind. Like when you see people from
double
Europe or
cheek
something like that,
kiss,
you
yeah.
get like the double cheek. So there are certain things that you have to follow. But one of the things is in most of the older towns, they don't have what we would consider modern or really efficient plumbing. So what they do is they don't flush any paper. So there's closed things next to toilets where you would put your used toilet paper.
Yeah.
And to me, that's a
No-no.
no-go.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
That's a
bathroom.
no-go.
Mexico is like that in a lot of
Yeah,
places, and
yeah.
the bathroom smell is pretty intense.
Oh, it's absolutely. So you guys make your own decisions, but don't expect to have a bathroom experience like the one that you have in fucking Detroit.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Mexico.
Mexico. Thank you for that.
I apologize.
I'm going to talk about a serial killer, then I'm going to talk about Nazis. Their most famous, most notorious killer, if you were to Google most famous serial killer in Brazil, they have a bunch of them, but I would say, who's the most famous serial killer in the United
Ted
States?
Bundy
Is it Bundy
I'd say so. Yeah.
or John Wayne Gacy.
or John Wayne Gacy?
I guess I'm the wrong person to ask.
Or the Green River
Bundy's,
Killer.
Bundy's just had the most.
Or this-
Or Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah.
Jeffrey
Jeffrey
Dahmer.
Dahmer and Bundy have had the most.
Definitely
But don't you
Dahmer.
think like it is a little bit amorphous? Like you can't really
Chainsaw Massacre, like that guy
pin down the one guy, like, you know?
Yeah.
In Brazil, it's this guy.
Yeah.
It's Pedro
I believe we
Rodriguez
covered
Filho.
him.
I don't think we did.
Yeah, we
Be-
did. We talked about
Did
it.
we?
Yeah.
He died in March of 23. He had a ton of AKAs, including one called the Pedrino Matador. His name is Pedro.
Cool.
Pedro Rodriguez Filho. So Little Pedro, Pedrino Matador. Then he also was called Killer Little Pedro, Killer Petey, or simply Killer Petey. He was Brazilian serial killer, vigilante, turned YouTuber, known for pursuing and killing other criminals and suspected criminals. YouTuber should be the one that jumps out as you as not fitting there, and we'll go into that because his killing stats are also pretty impressive. He committed most of his crimes as a teenager between the ages of 14 and 19. Let's think about that. From the ages of 14 and 19, and from what he did between those 14 and 19, he was officially sentenced for 71 murders, but he claimed to have killed over 100 people, including drug dealers, rapists, and murderers. So his story became the source material for Dexter. I don't remember saying that before.
No, I've never seen that.
Yeah.
I don't know if we did him in the sense the way we did him with, like the way we call it Gary Ridgway. We didn't do him
Right.
in that depth. I think we more or less alluded to him, and I believe this is why.
I think the guy is fascinating, so I'm
Yeah.
going to do a timeline. He was born in 1954 on a farm in Brazil. After his birth, doctors noticed that his skull had been bruised as a result of his father kicking his very pregnant mother's belly during an argument. So that's not an ideal start,
rough.
right? You know what I mean? Like every porn star starts with an abusive parent. Every serial killer probably starts with a dad kicking the mom in the gut while she's
Yeah.
pregnant. At the age of 13, he got into a fight with an older cousin, and he was punched in the face. First time he tasted his own blood. As Pedro laid there on the ground, he looked up at his cousin and said, "I'm going to kill you," and then pushed the young man into a sugarcane press, almost ripping his arm off. And then Pedro pulled a knife on him. The family intervened before he took his first victim, and again, this happened at 13. Less than a year later, at 14, Rodriguez, Pedro, he shot the deputy mayor of Santa Rita in front of City Hall. And he did it because this guy fired his father, who was a school security guard. And he fired his father over accusations of stealing food from the school kitchen. So Pedro killed the man, the deputy mayor, who fired his father, and then he found out the security guard who was actually robbing from the kitchen, and he killed him too. Both men killed with his dad's shotgun. And that's at 14. That put him on the run, where he began robbing drug dealers, drug dens, killing drug traffickers, and it made him a celebrity in the news as the vigilante Pedrino Matador, Little Pedro the Killer.
He looks like Skarsgård, the guy that's married to Maggie Gyllenhaal. He's like the Brazilian version of that.
Yeah. He soon met this woman named Maria Aparecida Olimpia, and they began living together. Rodriguez took on duties of Maria's deceased husband, who was a local drug lord, and due to his new place in the local street gang, he was soon forced to kill some rivals, including 3 of his ex-cronies. Maria became pregnant with his child, but then she was murdered shortly thereafter by a rival gang leader. So now, still underage, Rodriguez went on another revenge killing spree by tracking down and killing every member of that rival gang. I think this is a great story. Rodriguez
Wild.
claimed to have killed his own father by stabbing him 22 times and then chewing on part of his heart, supposedly in retaliation for his father having killed his mother by stabbing her 21 times. So here's the quote that he gave to Record TV. He stabbed my mother 21 times, so I stabbed him 22. People say I ate his heart. No, I simply cut his heart out because it was revenge, right? I cut it and I threw away, except I took a piece, chewed it, and I threw that away too. So he had an explanation for it.
Right.
On May 24th, 1973, at the age of 18, he was arrested and he was sentenced to 126 years of imprisonment. But he was to be released in 2003 because Brazilian law at the time prohibited anyone from spending more than 30 years behind bars, which is bullshit, but it is what it is.
Kind of rules.
Yeah, he wound
You're
up
a
doing
criminal.
Yeah, he wound up doing 34 years. So he did do more than 30, but obviously he didn't do the 126. And he was released in 2007 at the age of like 52 or 53. He was my age, essentially. So after that, following Rodriguez's initial planned 2003 release, author Jeff Lindsay began publishing a novel series about a fictional American serial killer inspired by Rodriguez named Dexter Morgan. The series' success, along with that of the 2006 television adaptation, led to a widespread retrospective media attention being brought to Rodriguez and him becoming internationally known, alternatively both as the Brazilian Dexter and the South American Punisher.
Sick.
After the Marvel character.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
That is cool.
I mean, you go around and you kill 71 people that we know of, and he says it's 100, including killing his dad, killing a bunch of people. You go into prison, somebody writes a bunch of books and launches a successful TV series. You come out and you become a little bit of a celebrity.
It's a little bit different than John Hamm and Martha Speaks, right?
Yeah,
Because-
yeah. He was on the outside for 4 years until 2011, when he was arrested and sentenced again to 8 years on charges of riot and deprivation of liberty. I don't know what that means, and I didn't go into it. He was released for good behavior in 2018 after 7 years only. Okay? He was on the outside for 4 years, sentenced to 8, got out in 7 for good behavior, but he's now out of prison and he's 64. After his second release from prison in 2018, he declared himself to be reformed from his self-declared vigilantism and publicly vowed to commit no further crimes, becoming a Brazilian celebrity and a YouTuber, maintaining a YouTube channel called Pedrinho Ex Matador, on which he commented on modern crimes. At its height, his channel had over 250,000 subscribers, which is a lot,
That's a ton.
and 35 million views. So the guy became an internet. That's certainly enough to get hired at Barstool.
Yeah, for sure.
That we would hire him. 250,000 followers?
Yeah.
That big of a fucking thing? He would have been hired at Barstool to do maybe a podcast with Rowan.
Deprivation of
Oh, that's a shot at Pat Bev. I apologize.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Deprivation of liberty means restricting someone's freedom of movement, essentially confining them so that they aren't free to leave and are under continuous supervision.
He must have had
Kidnap
somebody
Kind of
tied
like
up.
Boy George.
Yeah, exactly.
Boy
Yeah, a little
George
bit like
done.
that. So I watched some of his YouTube channel, and he seemed like the type of guy we could have had on this show. And that probably won't happen because in March of 2023, in Mogi de Cruzes, Brazil, Rodriguez was shot by 3 unidentified men firing from a black car, after which one of the assailants came over and finished him off with a knife to the throat. He cut his throat so hard that he nearly decapitated Pedro's corpse. No suspects have been identified or arrested, which reminds me of OJ. Like
Correct.
OJ, like the knife not lodged
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
her fucking spine. So same thing happened to this guy. So this dude, legitimate celebrity as far as Brazil is concerned, Pedrinho Matador, I guess rest in peace, but I really don't fucking care. We're going to close out with probably our favorite way of closing out everything, and we'll end with Nazis in Brazil. Germans began emigrating to Brazil around 1824, so a long time ago. And then in the 1920s and 1930s, another major wave of German immigrants began arriving in Brazil due to the socioeconomic problems faced by the Weimar Republic after World War I. After World War I, we know what happened to Germany. It got basically humiliated, right? Like they
Just say
took,
neutered.
yeah, they took away all their bullets
Yeah.
basically,
That's
and they put them in a situation where there wasn't a lot of opportunity, wasn't a lot of pride, and that's led to the rise of Hitler, right? Like he was trying to bring that German pride back, but in an absolutely demented way. But a lot of people headed for Z Hills after World War I, and they landed in Brazil, and why wouldn't you? Like, why wouldn't you go to Brazil, right?
Right.
Get the fuck out of
Yeah.
Germany, where everyone thinks that you're an absolute piece of shit, and you go to Brazil. So that accounted for there already being a German presence in Brazil before World War II had started. Then after Germany's defeat in World War II, some of those Nazis that were sought by the Allies as suspected war criminals fled to Brazil and hid among the German-Brazilian communities. And by far, the most famous of those Nazis who did it was Joseph Mengele, right? So Joseph Mengele was the bad guy. He was that doctor who was called the Angel of Death. He was the one that was doing all those wild medical experiments where he was sewing kids together and doing all that kind of stuff, trying to make this perfect Aryan race. Just a bad, bad guy. And he was one of those guys that after the shit hit the fan after World War II, he divorced his wife right away. He's like, I'm going to try and get to Brazil or something.
Right.
She was like, I don't want to go with me. I don't want to go with you. He's like, cool. And he fucking
See ya.
divorced her. Like he did officially
Jeez.
divorced her. Then he went through what I think they called rat lines. Like they were called
Yeah.
rat lines,
Yep.
which got him like fake papers and shit.
Oh, uh-huh.
And he got his ass over to Brazil under the alias Helmut Gregor. So he sailed to South America in July of 1949. Right after World War II. He first lived in Argentina, where Mengele may have practiced medicine without a license, including performing illegal abortions, but he soon moved to Brazil, where he purchased a farm. He lived hidden in the interior of Sao Paulo from 1970 to 1979.
What do you think he put on his resume?
I guess you don't have to. He
Skills.
used so many different aliases. Like I did follow this a little bit because there were those Mossad agents who
Right.
came to South America. This is all recent. This is 1979.
Right.
And this guy is still like that scene in the X-Men where Magneto comes into the bar.
Yes.
And it's like the two Nazis. That was in
Yeah.
like Brazil.
Yeah.
Or you're going to
I
tell me
think
it's Mexico City, you jerk.
Argentina.
Argentina, yeah. Venezuela.
Yeah.
But it's like that type of thing. And he had this gig going, owned a farm, practiced medicine illegally, did basically whatever he wanted to until 1979. This prick got to live where he drowned following a stroke while he was swimming at the age of
He
67.
got off so easy.
Yeah.
So he had a
So
30-year run in South America after being one of the most notorious people to ever walk the face of the earth and did unthinkable things to innocent men, women, and children during fucking the Holocaust.
So unfair.
That's fucking crazy. Yeah. 6 years after his death, his body was exhumed. And in 1992, DNA testing confirmed Mengele's identity beyond doubt. Because even though they found him dead in a pool in 1979, people still had made up stories like Elvis, that he was still alive somewhere.
Right.
So finally they did, take up his corpse. And in 1992, they finally had the technology to do some definitive DNA testing. And beyond any doubt, it was Joseph Mengele. But family members refused repeated requests by Brazilian officials to repatriate the remains to Germany. They're not sending him back to Germany. Instead, his skeleton is stored at the Sao Paulo Institute for Forensic Medicine, where it's used as an educational aid during forensic medicine courses at the University of Sao Paulo's medical school. That's a little bit better. At least this guy, hopefully a lot of people who are using him to become doctors are Jews. Like that would be good.
Poked and prodded. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it. That's what
I
we
think
got on
that's
Brazil.
Way too even nuts.
No,
Yeah,
I
think it's
believe
too
me.
easy.
Yeah, nothing would be enough for this guy.
Correct.
But unfortunately, that's the best that we could do. So after that, do you guys feel like you want to visit Brazil, or is it something that's now off of your bucket list?
I'd love to go to La Carnival.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Have the biggest party in the world. I'd do that for sure.
I mean, I think I would do one of those resorts type thing.
I'm
Yeah.
totally down for Brazil.
But as far as John grabbing a backpack and going into the Amazon forest, I think you can all agree with me.
Like
Fuck
a
John.
Teddy Roosevelt style, like
Yeah,
the sun.
like
Yeah.
something like that. I just wouldn't do it.
I'd love to see the Amazon rainforest, though. I feel like
Yeah.
I feel like I'd go and I'd hate it.
Yeah.
All the bugs and the humidity, it'd be awful. But
you could say
it's
you
something
did
I'd
it.
want to experience. Yeah.
I couldn't help but think when I was like reading up on Joseph Mengele too. There was that TV shows called Hunters. Al Pacino was in it and stuff
Yeah.
like that, which I never finished, but that kind of had that feel to it.
Right.
And then obviously just coinciding with us watching Nuremberg, which I thought Russell Crowe did a very good job in.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of Remy Malek. I don't know what it is. It just,
I'm there with you.
yeah, I'm like kind of hot and cold on the dude,
Yeah.
but I still recommend the movie, I think.
There's a Sports Center broadcaster that looks like Remy Malek, and I don't like him.
Oh,
because he
okay.
looks like Remy Malek. I'm like, I can't get it. I can't get over it.
Remember when he fell off the stage and broke his leg after the Academy Awards?
Oh, that's
no.
right. Yeah.
Like, you never saw.
I'm sure I saw it, but
Google
there's
Remy
so,
Malek broken leg.
Yeah.
award
Yeah.
ceremony.
there's so much
Nope.
going on.
He's got so much stuff on his thing right now, including Brigitte Bardot's Bush. All right, guys, thank you very much for your patience in this one. We're all over the map, but at least you know a little bit more about Brazil, a little bit more about Brigitte Bardot, and you tell me whether or not MTV dropped the fucking ball, and we'll see you guys next time on Twisted History.